Yes, YouTube. I've been lucky enough to be able to take one of these Nukeproof Mega RSs out for a trial over the last couple of weekends, and I'm going to compare it to my Santa Cruz Mega Tower and see whether this is a bike that I'd consider in the future. Will I turn my back on Santa Cruz and move to Nukeproof? Let's see. But before we get into the Mega, let's talk about Santa Cruz. So I've been riding Santa Cruz bikes now since 2015. The first time I tried one was 2014, and that was a friend's Nomad. It was the blue and pink one. And yeah, I very quickly sold my Orange 5, which was a 2006, to get a Santa Cruz. It changed my riding totally, and I've become a lot more confident and comfortable on a bike, and was able to do bigger features that I'd never done before. So that was the turning point, and I didn't even consider any other brand. On top of all that, I was really following the downhill World Cups at the time, and become quite a fan of Josh Bryceland and the Syndicate crew, and really enjoyed watching their videos and how they were getting on World Cup days. And so that was it really. I was converted. I moved to Santa Cruz. I moved like they were sponsored. No, I chose Santa Cruz as a bike that I wanted to ride. I bought the Bronx in 2015 and it was a dream. I loved it and had many great experiences on it. After riding that for 5 years, I decided it was time to move on, and I also had a V10 at the same time as having that, which was also 2015, and I decided to sell the pair of them and buy a Mega Tower. During 2020 lockdown, I think it was like a little release week where we were able to travel, and we jetted up to Scotland and went to Tweed Valley Cycles, and I bought the Mega Tower. Now I had an XL in the Bronson, and I decided to go for a large in the Mega Tower, and the sizing was good for me. And I've got to say, the big selling point for Santa Cruz, one, yeah, I enjoyed riding their bikes. They really fitted me well. I felt really comfortable, confident in them. They're super cool, and you get a lot of kudos. That's the least important piece. But yeah, I just feel like I'd bought into the culture really, and liked what they were about, and yeah, kind of wanted to sort of be a part of that, I guess. So then we have Nukeproof. Nukeproof comes along. First few bikes I've seen of Nukeproof, quite like the look of them. I love the name of Nukeproof and the actual branding. The logo looks super cool, like the way it's got these little faster, almost go faster dashes off the O, the R, the P. Oh, the R, the P, the P. That's anyway. Yeah, they brought this RS version out of the Mega, and I was like, do you know what? That looks the bits, that does. So yeah, we check it out. Now, I think notoriously what Nukeproof were known well for was that you could get a cheap bike with really good components, and there was no compromising in the frame or the design, so it kind of ticks all the boxes really. Now, frames will break. If you were going to do a 30-foot drop to flat, and yeah, you don't get that right, there's a good chance on a carbon frame you're going to snap it. An aluminium frame, however, would just bend slightly, and you might not really notice it, and it certainly won't become dangerous. So I'm not saying that Nukeproof bikes don't break, because they do, and so do all other bikes. In fact, my V10 downhill bike also had a crack in it, and that was Santa Cruz. So yeah, there's no way I'm going to sign up for saying that these bikes are as strong as ever and they won't break. However, they have done a few things that have strengthened them over the years, that's made them a little bit more reliable, I'd say. Around the steerer tube has been widened, and Dave made this comment.
Very chunky head tube, isn't it? Jeez, from the front, just to look at it.
Yeah.
It looks like a can of Coke. look at it from the very front. Yeah. Actually, it looks like you've got a can of Coke. Like, I bet it's the same width, isn't it?
And so here's the comparison. As you can tell, it's pretty much exactly the same size as a can, maybe slightly bigger. And that just gives me a whole load of confidence around there that this part of the bike isn't going to snap and put my life at risk, I guess. they've decided to go with carbon bars. I'm more of an aluminium bars fan, me. I get the whole weight reduction, but I just prefer aluminium, just again a reliability piece. If you're landing, I'm a big guy, and if I land heavy on some bars, I just worry that I'd snap them. But I've never snapped a pair of carbon bars, and I have owned a couple of pairs, and these do look pretty amazing. Going to look at a few things a little bit closely now. Really like those calipers with the oil slick bolts. Pretty special, nice little touch. Bit of an art to standing a bike up with a stick, isn't there? First time on electric gears. Way better than this. I always seem to bash my rear mechs. Look how damaged that is. Not very good at looking after rear mechs. But those new SRAM ones look pretty special. Plastic plugs just to keep the housing in place. Ignore that tyre, I've swapped it now. Let's get it out on the trail and you can have a look at see how I rode it. We're going to go to Crimcarn. This is a clip from a recent edit that I did, but I never put this clip in the edit, so it's a fresh clip, and you can see how I rode it.
Aggressive! Oh, this looks a little bit slippy. Woo! Oh man, that was close.
Big question, would I move from Santa Cruz to Nukeproof? Given how this bike is rode, yeah, I think I would. There's still a little part in my heart for Santa Cruz, and I'd be a little bit gutted. I'd love to be able to have both bikes. Maybe that's an option, who knows, to sneak it in the garage. But yeah, there's nothing that fears me about this bike in its capabilities. The way that it looks is amazing. The components, it's a dream for. Like, it's an unreal bike, and it climbs so well. It's really good at climbing. I think the only thing for me was the fact that the top tube is a lot shorter. I think it's about 10 centimeters shorter than the Mega Tower, so it did feel like sometimes my reach was a bit off, and getting my balance, centre of balance on the bike was a little bit challenging, but I think that's just something you get used to. The rear end of the bike is actually longer than the Santa Cruz Mega Tower by about the same sort of 10 centimeters.
Right, I just need to correct something here, because having looked at the stats, I know I just spoke about 10 centimeter difference in the top tube, but actually it's millimeters. So on one of them it shows 619 millimeters, and on the other one it shows 610 centimeters. But actually, I think it's just 61 centimeters. So yeah, it's about a 10 millimeter difference in the top tube. Sorry about the confusion there.
So full length of the bike is about the same. It's just that it's shorter in the reach and longer in the rear. It's so much shorter in the reach actually that when I ride up a hill sat on the saddle from over the top of the bars, I can just look down and see the Nukeproof logo. So yeah, very different, but the guys said I look really comfortable on it. They were quite amazed at how quick I was going, to say that I'd never rode it before and I've just jumped on a fresh new bike. I adapted to it quite well and really enjoyed riding it. Can't say enough about the look of it. It just looked beautiful, amazing. This is the 2022 model. I imagine there will be a 2023 coming out at some point. Not sure if they'll change much about it, but yeah, this bike is sick. And if you've got some money in the bank and you want to get value for your money, I'd head over to Wiggle and buy one of these. I'd like to actually take a Giga out as well and see how that hands up. Apparently when you look at the reviews, they tend to say that they're pretty much the same bike, it's just that the suspension's slightly different. There's more, yeah, you've got more millimeters in your suspension on front and back on the Giga versus the Mega. I imagine there's a little bit in the geometry as well, but they're meant to be very, very similar bikes. Still like to take one out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that review. Drop us a comment in the comments box below and let us know what you think, especially if you've done the transition yourself from one brand to the next, particularly going from any brand to Nukeproof really, and how your findings have been. Yeah, drop us a comment, like the video if you like it, and yeah, see you in the next one. Peace. Shake it, shake it. Shake it, shake it. Yes, YouTube. It's a bit of a different one today. I'm doing a review. And how to balance on your feet. No. I've been lucky enough to take one of these out for the last couple of weekends, and I'm going to compare it to my Santa Cruz. Oh!